Hello, this is your Monday Independence Week edition of InfoHub. PAHO Consultant commends government's disaster preparedness. Entrepreneurship and Innovation Conference open. National Youth Week kicks off with a grand parade on Sunday. Guyana's first Timber Expo, a major success. Minister Harman set to contest a high-ranking political post. Minister Brooms pushes for greater compliance in quarrying sector. And Russian ambassador calls on Prime Minister Nagamutu. More after this break. Welcome back. International health consultant Dr. Mariano Bonet has commended the government and the Civil Defense Commission for the country's disaster readiness plan. Delicia Haynes has the details.
The PAHO consultant was speaking at a workshop for stakeholders following the hosting of a successful simulation exercise in Mabaruma on May 12. Dr. Bonet says the country is on the right path for disaster readiness.
And what we have been doing with PAHO and with the Ministry of Agriculture GLD 18 is something that for me is correct, and I congratulate as a PAHO officer the government of Guyana and the two ministries, the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Public Health, because we really think that you are doing the right. The country is now preparing, activating the best of the surveillance system, working with the ministries and different sectors to prevent the epidemic. And you know, this is finally what we need in the country.
Additionally, Dr. Bonet says it is laudable to have one agency which is well prepared to respond to a disaster of any making. He has also congratulated the CDC and the government for improvements made over the last 3 years.
When we have a disaster, natural, or an emergency, an epidemic, or any other threat that can be chemical, an spill, an explosion, a radiation emergency, an accident, a mass casualty, we need to think rapidly that we have a platform and an agency that is the Civil Defense Commission, that is the arm of the government of Guyana to work with everybody and fix the situation.
The simulation exercise held in the Northwest District tested the country's readiness to deal with an outbreak of foot and mouth disease or any other epidemic. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
President David Granger and First Lady Sandra Granger are in Trinidad for their routine annual medical checks. The first couple is scheduled to return to Guyana Thursday. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who is performing the duties of president, received a courtesy call from Russian Ambassador Alexander Karmaz.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, who is performing the duties of president, today raised a wide range of issues with Ambassador Alexander Karmaz of the Russian Federation during the courtesy call. The acting president assured that Guyana remains eager to build strong relations with the Russian Federation. He agreed to look at the possibility of broadcasting Russian programs locally and exchanging parliamentary delegations to promote ties between the two democracies. Prime Minister Nagamutu also asked that the ambassador conveys his congratulations to President Vladimir Putin on his re-election for a fourth term. He reaffirmed the strong bonds of friendship between the two nations. A token of appreciation was given to Ambassador Karmaz by the Prime Minister. Ambassador Karmaz was accredited by President David Granger on March 28 at State House. The two countries have enjoyed cordial relations and collaborated in the areas of culture, education, economics, investment, politics, security and science. Guyana and the Russian Federation established formal diplomatic ties on December 17, 1970. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
The inaugural Timber Expo was an impressive display of products from Guyana's forests. Seneca Thorne has this report.
The Timber Expo 2018 was hosted by the Guyana Forestry Commission to provide exposure to the products in the sector. Many of the exhibitors commended the government for the initiative.
I would like to say it was a fantastic experience. I think it was extremely successful. It was informational. People get to understand the benefits of fluorine, especially the lesser used species in Guyana. And they get to see that the Guyanese companies can really match the international standards and products.
Coming here and seeing the wonderful job that they've done for us to be able to come out here and promote, it's just great.
The expo also provided exposure to the downstream production within the forestry sector.
I've seen some serious efforts are being made to facilitate the downstream or value-added production, because we say that value-added is not just planing boards. It's making furniture, woodcraft, and all of that.
I think it's a fantastic effort and should be continued because the public is now made aware of what is produced with Guyana local species. Right? People think that, okay, you just build a house with wood, but there are so many more that you can do with wood species.
For other exhibitors, the expo was an opportunity to expand their local market presence.
That we were looking for.
So you think then some of the expo will be a success?
I would say so. And we're hoping that this thing can be a yearly thing, and to educate Guyanese that what is available.
Many of those attending the expo were impressed by the products on display.
A lot of lumber now is going to be extending. It's a lot more lumber sawmill come out, That means the government will helping the people maybe to develop the wood industry.
I think this is something very educational because some of the things I'm now learning about wood and how many things that we could actually do with wood.
The expo was held under the theme Expanding Markets for Guyanese Timber Products through public education, awareness and sensitization to promote a greener Guyana. Sineca Thorne, InfoHub.
National Youth Week was officially opened on Sunday with a colorful parade featuring hundreds of young people. Zanil Williams has that report.
This is a time where you forge ahead to invest in yourselves, especially when it comes to your education. Your youth is an exciting period. It is the time in your life where you have the power to shape your future. The achievement of every young person adds to the growth of an entire nation.
The minister was at the time addressing the large gathering at the rally to officially launch this year's National Youth Week, which followed a parade from Parliament Building to Durban Park. Minister Norton made special mention of Guyana's youngest female captain, LaShawn Berkeley, the youngest forensic analyst, Tamika Henry, and 8-year-old overseas-based Guyanese, Ayana Willibus, the youngest published author in the United States, as examples of youths making strides in every facet of our society. Director of Youth, Melissa Carmichael Haynes, in her remarks, assured that the development of young people remains a national priority.
One cannot mistake the importance of youth work. Hence, all should get involved and do their parts, ensuring that Guyana's youth are adequately equipped to not only be the leaders of tomorrow, but the agents of change and development partners of the present.
The main highlight for the week is the Youth Business Summit, slated for May 23rd and 24th. Millions of dollars will be up for grabs as 21 youths will pitch business ideas to receive funding from $500,000 to $1 million. Youths are being encouraged to participate in the week of activities being held countrywide. Zanil Williams for InfoHub.
Renetta LaFleur now tells us that Minister Simona Brooms has recommended that work cease at a stone quarry in the Mazaruni River and a sandpit operated by the Region 7 authorities.
Over the weekend, Minister Brooms made impromptu inspections at several quarries and sandpit located in Region 7. The most glaring instances of non-compliance in safety practices were observed at the Durban quarries, where the company failed to correct unsafe mining practices despite a sand pit in 5 miles Bartico.
And the people who operate these things, they are the diamonds between these rocks. And you don't fetch them in bulldozer buckets. I beg of you. I beg of you. Don't do it. Don't do it. I ask that
the disregards for compliance with GGMC, that we bring a turnaround. I want to work with you.
Minister Brooms urged stakeholders to strive for compliance.
I planned with the GGMC from the ministry level that we engage all the different owners for the quarries and that we visit today to discuss what are their challenges and to work with them and to ensure that going forward they comply and we have a different relationship. The government give concessions and all of that. I've asked the GGMC to add the list of concessions based on what I've seen today as some additional information, a list of all the concessions that was granted so that in the overview all those things we take into consideration.
According to the minister, the inspections are to gather a comprehensive overlook of the sector and are a step in the right direction towards ensuring that GGMC is better equipped to monitor, enforce, and recover costs in the quarrying sector. Renetta LaFleur for InfoHub.
In our next report, Minister of State Joseph Harmon has announced his candidature for chairmanship of the People's National Congress.
The People's National Congress is an extremely democratic party. What that means is that biennially every 2 years we have a Congress at which all positions of leadership are up for voting. And that is from the leader right down to the central executive of the party. And that is the democracy which we practice. And so every member of the party can aspire to the highest office in our party. And like many others, I am a member of the party of long standing and therefore have indicated that it is my desire, it is my interest in putting myself up as a candidate for the chairmanship of.
Guyana's first Entrepreneurship and Innovation Conference was today opened at the Ramada Hotel. Crystal Stull has the details.
Dean of School of Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation, Professor Leland Lucas, explained the conference stemmed from conversations among stakeholders on the provision of tools needed to boost and transform free enterprise in Guyana.
Everybody's talking about entrepreneurship, but do we really understand some of the dynamics that are important to entrepreneurship? And so we thought we needed to put on this conference for it to be more than just a talk shop.
Established businesses, budding entrepreneurs, students, and academics are among those participating. At this morning's opening, local entrepreneurs were establishing spaces to display their products, which will form part of today's activities. University of Guyana's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Ivelaw Griffith, said the annual forum provides a more hands-on approach.
But the annual conferences will not only be conversations, dreaming and doing about entrepreneurship. They will be setting the stage as part of SEMI to celebrate entrepreneurs.
The two-day event will include panel discussions, presentations of papers, and product displays by members of the business community. Entrepreneurs will be given the opportunity to engage in a business pitch competition. Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
And the Essequibo Pomeroon Regional Cooperative Union has a brand new headquarters at Anna Regina. Here's our final report.
The building was handed over following the resolution of a land conflict between the cooperative and the Ganesh and Punwati Jaigabin, which led to the Jaigabins purchasing alternative land, preparing and then constructing the new co-op union building. Minister within the Ministry of Social Protection, Keith Scott, who has responsibility for cooperatives, said that the ceremony was a symbolic rebirth.
Today is the signal of the rebirth of the co-op movement in this area. It's a rebirth, not only a rebirth, but the beginning of a new growth. This is much more than just a cooperative union. It is the spirit of cooperation. It is the spirit that you will now understand that trust will now be born again. It is like not only trust, but you'll have measurable development, not only for the body as a whole, but for you individually, because you understand the fundamental principle of progress, and that is trust each other and work together in unity.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon was also present at the handing over.
I am also convinced
that cooperatives as a corporate construct and the fostering of cooperative spirit are key elements in our quest for true social cohesion in our society. It will also instill in our people a higher sense of social responsibility, especially with regard to the care and use of public property.
Chairman of the Guyana National Cooperative Union Limited, Derek Cummings, welcomed the commissioning of the new headquarters.
This building here is a true representation of the progress we're making because it is a partnership between the cooperatives and the private sector. And it's hopefully will deliver a lot of benefits.
Both ministers pledged to continue pushing for the development of the cooperative movement. For InfoHub, I'm Alexis Rodney.
This is Carnival Week. Many of you will be joining in the festivities. If you do, please ensure you have a designated driver. Do not drink and drive and do not speed on our roadways. Have a safe Carnival 2018. Goodbye.